Elena blew a kiss to the camera, then she ended her recording. 47 takes later, she finally had it. Perfect lighting, perfect delivery, perfect aesthetic. Her thumb trembled slightly, hovering over the upload button. This was it, her first shot across the bow. If it didn't land, her plan to take control of her life and get revenge on Logan could end before it even started. She took a deep breath, then hit upload. The video was live. Moments later, her phone buzzed with notifications. Comments flooded in. A tidal wave of support and intrigue. Yes, queen. Drop the skincare routine, I'm begging. Iconic.
You're ovulating,
He said coldly, unbuckling his pants.
Let's get this over with. The quicker you get pregnant,
Logan said, shrugging off his jacket.
the faster this is over.
No sweet nothings, no soft promises. Elena Drake had always dreamed of being married, but she never thought it would be anything like this. Logan Bennett didn't even kiss her on their wedding day. Not properly. Just a cold brush of his lips on her cheek, as lifeless as the contract they both silently signed hours earlier. She wore white. She smiled for photos. But by the time they reached their home, the illusion cracked. Your room is down the hall, he said, pointing towards a dark corridor. If you need anything, ask the butler. Elena nodded. Not exactly how she imagined the night of her wedding would be. I've shared a calendar with you, he continued. I've coordinated with your doctor, and those are the times we will be seeing each other moving forward. Only when you're ovulating. Other than that, I don't want to see you. There were no moments of passion, only scheduled encounters. Thursday at 9, Logan said, eyes never lifting from his phone. Try not to be late. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Elena looked to the door confused, but Logan didn't seem surprised at all. He opened the door and there stood Ivy Monroe, his recovery nurse. I'm here to make you feel all better, she said with a wicked grin. His nurse was doing an after-hours session on the night of his wedding, Elena thought to herself. They both turned to Elena as if she was interrupting them. Is there anything else, Elena? Logan asked coldly. If not, go to your room. We have work to do. Elena's cheeks flushed. She couldn't believe she was being chastised like a child. They both stared at her expectantly, and Elena slowly turned and made her way down the hall. She could hear their hushed whispers and giggles, and it only added more salt to her wounds. It was their wedding night, and he was spending it with another woman. Their life became a routine, and Elena followed the schedule obediently. Their nights spent together were transactional and short. There was no passion. Logan barely even looked at Elena while he was inside of her. As soon as he was finished, he would get up and shower with the expectation that she would be gone by the time he got back. They hardly even said 2 words to each other. Despite everything, Elena never gave up hope. Can I make you dinner tomorrow night? Elena asked softly. I have plans, he answered coldly. What about the next night? Elena persisted. I'm busy, Elena, he said, and then closed the bathroom door, severing their connection. Elena quickly learned that Logan spent a lot of time with Ivy. She's just a friend, Logan said when Elena asked. Stop being paranoid. I'm not paranoid, she snapped. You spend more time with her than your own wife. I didn't realize you were keeping track of how I spend my time, he barked back. I'm trying to make this work, Logan, Elena sighed, rubbing her forehead. Well, he said with a careless shrug, maybe if you'd gotten pregnant by now it would be working. He stormed into his room, slamming the door behind him. Elena struggled with their relationship. She wanted to please Logan and be a good wife, but she also wanted more than robotic sex once a week every month. She felt like a dog who was being bred, and every month that went by she wasn't pregnant, she felt like a failure. 2 months later, she bit her lip as she waited for the pregnancy test results. It was positive. She called Logan, giddy and shaking. It rang once, twice, then went straight to voicemail. She texted him to call her but never heard from him until he got home later that night. I'm pregnant, she exclaimed, expecting him to share her excitement. Silence. And then good. No need to see each other tonight then. He walked right past her into his room. A month later she lost that baby. Alone. She clutched her abdomen, blood soaking her dress, her cries echoing through the cold, empty walls. She called Logan again and again, but he wasn't answering his cell. She tried his office, but his secretary picked up. Mr. Bennett is in a meeting with Miss Monroe and can't be disturbed. Tell him it's an emergency. It's about the baby. I'll pass along the message. He never called back. A few months later, Elena got pregnant again, and then she lost the baby again. It was devastating, and even more so that she had to go through it alone all over again. And then it happened a 3rd time. Each pregnancy ended in grief. Each miscarriage carved something from her, and with each loss, Logan grew colder, crueler. You were supposed to be the perfect choice, he said once, barely glancing up from his drink. Hand-selected for me by my grandfather, but you can't even do the one thing you were brought here to do. That night, Elena cried in the bathtub until the water ran cold. The 4th time Elena got pregnant, it felt different. And suddenly Logan changed. He came to her doctor's appointments, held her hand, kissed her forehead, smiled when the technician said the baby was healthy. For the first time since their wedding, Elena felt like they might actually become something real. She dared to hope. She dared to believe in him. She even dared to love him. Until the pain started. Sharp, blinding, unforgiving. She collapsed in their bathroom, clutching her stomach, sobbing, "No, no, not again. Your baby is dying inside of you. Just like any love I ever had for you is dead." Logan Bennett screamed at his pregnant wife. "I don't love you, Elena. I really never did." Elena Bennett sat in her private hospital room, staring at divorce papers while her fourth miscarriage threatened to tear her world apart. Or so she thought. Her soon-to-be ex-husband, Logan Bennett, towered over her bed. Sign them. Now. Elena looked up at his cold, unwavering expression. The brutality of his timing sent a shiver down her spine. Her hand trembled as she took the pen and signed her name. How did it come to this? Just 2 hours earlier, Elena Bennett was walking the familiar path through the Beverly Hills Hospital, believing the worst thing that could happen that day already had. Her fourth miscarriage in the past 6 months. As she approached the nurse's station, her steps were measured and controlled. She wore simple pearl earrings and a cream cashmere sweater, her hair in a loose chignon. Yet there was something fragile in her movements today. Her usual grace in public seemed strained. 10 months of playing the perfect happy wife had already taken its toll, and her composure was starting to slip. The nurse appeared. Brooke, Elena remembered, holding a tablet and wearing a sympathetic smile. They'd developed a rapport over these past months, though neither acknowledged it directly. "Mrs. Bennett, everything's ready for you." She hesitated, had them bring in fresh flowers, the peonies you mentioned liking last time. Elena nodded, throat tight. "Thank you." Inside the private room, Elena sank onto the bed, her composure wavering for just a moment. 4 miscarriages. On 4 Tuesdays. Each one stole a little more of her hope. Her future. Pieces of herself she wasn't sure she'd ever get back. Her hand shook slightly as she reached for her phone. The call rolled to voicemail as she knew it would. As it always did on these Tuesdays. "You've reached Logan Bennett. If this is about the Tokyo merger, contact my office. If this is about the charity gala, contact my assistant." Elena closed her eyes, letting her husband's recorded voice wash over her. Smooth, professional, and emotionless. "Logan. I'm at Cedars again. Same room. Same story." She paused, swallowing hard. "Just once I wish you'd answer. Just once I wish you'd." She cut herself off, years of training kicking in. Even in private messages, there were appearances to maintain. She ended the call and immediately dialed Logan's assistant, Kevin. Kevin answered with his usual neutral tone. "Mr. Bennett's office. It's Elena. Tell Logan I'm at Cedars." She stared out the window, the Bennett building rising like a silver needle against the sky. "Though I suspect you already knew that." Kevin paused briefly, hesitating. "I'll pass along the message, Mrs. Bennett." Elena lay back against the pillows, one hand resting protectively over her stomach. Time moved strangely in hospital rooms, stretching, contracting, leaving too much space for thoughts you'd rather not have. She counted the flowers in the arrangement Sarah had brought. 13 peonies, their pale pink petals already beginning to unfurl. 13, an unlucky number. She almost laughed at the irony. Suddenly the door to her room swung open with a startling force. Logan stood there, power and privilege wrapped in a perfect suit, every inch the corporate titan he'd been groomed to be. He filled the doorway with his presence, 6 feet tall, razor-sharp jawline, and a physique that betrayed regular sessions with LA's most expensive personal trainers. But his face held nothing of concern, only irritation. "Really, Elena? Today of all days?" She looked up at him, still playing the role she'd perfected over several months of marriage. Perfect wife, perfect patient, perfect puppet. "I'm sorry, I didn't exactly plan this." Logan's jaw tightened, a muscle ticking beneath his perfectly clean-shaven skin. "Let's not do this now." "Do what? I'm just lying here losing another baby. Don't let me keep you from anything important." The words came out more bitter than she'd intended, and she saw him bristle. He paced the length of the room, agitation in every step. "Since we're both here, we might as well discuss this." "Discuss what?" Elena was still quiet and controlled, even as her heart began racing. "Our marriage." Logan pulled out a stack of papers. "This arrangement has run its course." Elena felt the air leave her lungs. "Arrangement? My grandfather was very specific. Marriage, heir, company ownership, simple requirements." His laugh was short, harsh. "For some reason he chose you, the perfect paper wife. Except you can't seem to handle the most basic part." Understanding dawned slowly, painfully, like poison spreading through her veins. "You married me for the company?" "Of course." Logan's voice held no emotion. "Why else would I marry someone like you? No connections, no real value. Just a pretty face my grandfather inexplicably trusted. Elena's fingers twisted in the expensive sheets, her knuckles white with tension. Someone like me? Let's be honest, we were never going to work. Even if you had managed to carry a child, I planned to divorce you anyway. He paused, a cruel smile playing at his lips, the kind she'd seen him use just before hostile takeovers. I don't love you, Elena. I never did. I love Ivy. The divorce papers landed in front of her like a judgment. Elena stared at them, her world tilting on its axis. Ivy? Your recovery nurse? Not just my nurse, my girlfriend, since before our wedding. He straightened his tie, a nervous tell Elena had noticed before but never mentioned. She understands me. Cares about me. Not just my money. A soft, broken laugh escaped her. Says the man who married for his grandfather's company. The words hung in the air between them as he glared at her. She quickly looked away. You can't fight this, Elena. The prenup is airtight. Take the dignified exit. It's the only thing you have left. Sign them, now. Her signature was steady, even as her world crumbled. Logan gathered the papers, tucking them into his briefcase like he was collecting just another contract. He left without a word, the door closing with quiet finality. Elena shut her eyes and attempted to breathe deeply as she desperately tried to rein in her emotions. Am I dreaming? Did that just happen? Divorced in a hospital bed? This is not how my life was supposed to go. Moments later, Elena's doctor entered, chart in hand. Mrs. Bennett. Miss Drake. She opened her eyes, her voice suddenly different. Something steel edged beneath the softness. It's Miss Drake now? The doctor blinked but recovered quickly. Oh, excuse me. Miss Drake. I have good news. The baby is fine, just normal first trimester spotting. Elena nodded slowly, processing this impossibility as one hand drifted to her stomach and the other reached for her phone. Inside her, something shifted, rearranging itself into a harder shape. Grayson? Logan and I. It's over. Tell Arthur to release the trust. Elena's voice was calm and controlled, and have the penthouse ready by tonight. She paused as she listened, the slight curl of a smile appearing on her lips. No, brother. This isn't like before. This time, we're taking everything. She ended the call and stood, smoothing her sweater with steady hands. The movement was graceful, practiced, the same way she'd smoothed her clothes 1,000 times before at 1,000 society events. But this time, it felt like an armor being fastened into place. Elena stepped outside, and the roar of an approaching helicopter filled the air. As she walked, her head held high, something dangerous appeared in her eyes. Poor Logan. He's been so busy playing corporate chess he never noticed who was moving the pieces. Men like him never do. They're too focused on the queen to remember that pawns can become queens too, given enough patience in the right position. She approached the waiting helicopter, the wind whipping her hair free from its careful style. Her security guard, Marcus, helped her inside the helicopter. Take me home, but circle the Bennett building on the way. Her hand rested on her stomach, protective and sure. Baby's first lesson in patience. Revenge, like all good things, takes time. The helicopter rose over the city, banking toward the gleaming Bennett Tower. Elena watched it grow closer, her face reflected in the glass, no longer the docile wife, but something far more dangerous. Elena Drake was done playing nice. She was back. And this time, she was playing for keeps. Elena looked out over the sprawling Drake estate she once called home. Perfectly manicured hedges, water features that made the Getty Villa look like a splash pad. The grounds were eloquent but reeked of new money. Suddenly, Elena went ramrod straight, her stomach turning over as a wave of nausea overtook her. And before she knew it, she was retching into nearby bushes. Once her stomach emptied, she steadied herself, dabbing at the corners of her mouth with a handkerchief. Thank God we kept your glam team on retainer. You look terrible, darling. Her mother's voice cut through the tranquil air, sharp as ever. Come give Mommy a hug. Elena forced a smile as she traipsed across the Drake estate's endless sea of green turf towards the infinity pool, where her mother, Vivian Drake, lounged. Vivian, a woman made of more Botox than estrogen, had lived a hard life and was forced to make hard decisions. But like all rags to riches stories, after meeting the man of her dreams, she landed herself in a Bel Air paradise, where the hardest decision she ever had to make was still water sparkling. Elena bent towards her mother, embracing her with rigid arms, the tang of the pool's chlorine spurring on another round of nausea that she fought to stave off. 10 months away, and that's the first thing you say to me? Elena was slowly starting to remember why she left her family in the first place. Vivian waved a manicured hand, dismissing Elena's indignation. I would have mentioned it at your wedding, but apparently my invite got lost in the mail. Besides, tell me I'm wrong. I bet you won't. Elena's jaw tightened. She wanted to argue with her mother, but she couldn't. Vivian was right. She was miserable. And it wasn't just her raging hormones. Vivian squeezed Elena's hand. Tell Mommy what's wrong. Despite herself, Elena sunk into the chair beside her mother and felt the dam burst. The words tumbled out in a rush. The sham of a marriage built on Logan's grandfather's ultimatum, Logan's betrayal with Ivy, and the baby Logan believed was lost. Vivian listened, unflappable as ever, her only movements the occasional stir of her martini, or the precise placement of an olive in her drink. When Elena finally fell silent, Vivian tilted her head, her expression one of practiced sympathy. Sweetheart, men like Logan Bennett are a dime a dozen. The trick isn't finding one. It's plucking the right one at the right time. And you have. She gestured vaguely toward Elena's midsection. About 12 weeks before, that becomes infinitely more difficult. Elena's hands brushed over her abdomen, more aware of the ticking time bomb inside her than ever before. Meanwhile, across town, Logan Bennett was kneeling on the smooth Malibu sands where a private dining area was situated. Before him stood Ivy Monroe, a leaf of a woman who, years earlier, had saved his life and stolen his heart. His arm was extended before her, and in his hand was the 5-carat diamond ring he had begrudgingly offered Elena 10 months earlier. Waste not, want not. Oh my freaking God, yes, Logan! Yes! Ivy shrieked in delight as Logan slid the massive diamond ring onto her finger. Champagne! Logan snapped his fingers, sending a nearby waiter scuttling back to the seaside restaurant that loomed in the background, then turned back to admire his new fiancée. Ivy was everything Elena wasn't. Adoring, uncomplicated, flawless. Even her tears of joy were perfect. Not a single streak of mascara marring her face. Logan had imagined this moment hundreds of times over the years, but still, something gnawed at him, distracted him, and fought for his attention when all he really wanted was to strip Ivy naked and make love to her right then and there. Sir? The waiter jolted Logan from his thoughts, offering 2 stemmed glasses full of bubbling champagne. Ivy grasped onto one glass, Logan the other. To new beginnings. Logan raised his champagne when suddenly his hand trembled. A subtle but persistent reminder of the plane crash that had first brought Ivy into his life. Ivy steadied his hand. To us. She smiled and kissed him softly before downing her glass. I'm thinking a winter wedding fits us best. Ivy immediately shifted into planning mode. Fail? Maybe the Alps? Either way, we need Kurt Van Dutch. He came in at the last minute to plan Harry and Meghan's ceremony. It was a hot mess before that, but you didn't hear that from me. Ivy motioned to the waiter for another glass of champagne. Whatever you want, my love. Logan smiled back robotically, struggling to keep up. As Ivy sipped from her glass, Logan's eyes locked on the ring, the one he had originally given to Elena, and there it was again. A pang of what? Guilt? What did he have to feel guilty about? Not for leaving Elena, a woman he never truly loved. Their divorce was bound to happen. No, he refused to feel guilty about that. About choosing the love of his life over someone he was forced to marry. Looks like the paparazzi have arrived. Ivy giggled excitedly. Smile for the cameras, honey. Logan did as he was told. Later that evening, Elena lay in her childhood bed, musing over the choices that led her to rock bottom, when her phone sounded with a news alert that, while unsurprising, still stung. Logan Bennett's mystery fiancé. Elena scrolled through the Gossip Rags article, spying pictures of Logan with a tall brunette she was sure was Ivy Monroe. He couldn't even wait a day. Tears burned in her eyes, betraying the anger bubbling inside her. Darling, are you crying? Stop that at once. Vivian's voice sliced through Elena's haze of emotion as she breezed into the room. In her wake followed a battalion of sharply dressed PR specialists, their tablets glowing like shields ready for battle. Elena barely had time to register the newcomers before they began talking over each other, tossing out buzzwords like narrative control and sympathy spin. A whiteboard appeared, populated with names, dates, and diagrams, as if her life were a corporate restructuring project. Vivian stood at the center, sipping her martini with the air of a general surveying her troops. Elena, darling, listen carefully. Vivian looked down at her as though speaking to a child. We'll leak divorce rumors first, just a whisper to pique curiosity. Then we'll place you at key events, galas, charity dinners, that sort of thing. You'll be seen with eligible suitors. Nothing serious. Just enough to remind the world you're desirable. By the time your little bundle shows, you'll be married to someone who makes Logan Bennett look like a valet. She smiled as though the plan were already in motion. Elena felt the walls closing in. This was the world she thought she'd escaped when she married Logan. People buzzing around her, maneuvering her like a piece on a chessboard. Everyone in control of her life but her. Her mother's voice faded into the background, replaced by the drumming of her pulse. She looked around the room, the polished PR professionals, her mother, cool and commanding as ever, the whiteboard is full of timelines that didn't feel like hers, and then she looked down at her own hands, folded protectively over her stomach, the weight of it all pressed down on her chest until it felt like she couldn't breathe. Enough. Her voice was quiet but sharp, cutting through the din like a blade. The room stilled, all eyes snapping to her, Vivian raised a perfectly sculpted brow. Elena, darling. This is not the time for theatrics. I said enough. Elena's voice rose, trembling but resolute. She stood, her hands clenched into fists at her sides, her nails digging into her palms as a fresh surge of anger overtook her. She thought of Logan, lying in bed with Ivy, laughing about how easy it had all been to discard her. She thought of her mother, treating her life like a board game to be won at all costs. And then she thought of the baby growing inside her, the one thing in all this chaos that was hers. This isn't your life, Mother. It's mine. And I'm not going to spend it letting other people tell me what to do. Her voice was steady now, her anger sharpening into something cold and clear. We'll be handling this my way. Vivian opened her mouth to argue but closed it again, perhaps recognizing for the first time that her daughter wasn't the same girl who'd left this house 10 months ago. Elena turned on her heels and walked out of the room, her head held high. As she passed one of the mansion's countless mirrors, she caught a glimpse of herself. Pale, tired, but with a fire in her eyes that hadn't been there before. Logan thought he could control her. Her mother thought she could shape her. They were both wrong. This time, Elena Drake was in control, and she was going to make sure the world remembered her name. That night, Elena slept more soundly than she had in the past 10 months. Breaking out of her meek and mild shell, reclaiming control of her life, and deciding to protect the life growing inside her had worked wonders for her soul. When morning came, the pale sunlight streaming through the curtains felt like a spotlight, ushering her into a new chapter. Today marked the beginning of her new life. The first step in this new life required a stage, and Elena knew exactly where to find one. Her mother's marble bathroom, immaculately lit, ridiculously opulent, became her studio. With her phone propped up against an ornate perfume tray, Elena launched into her very first video for Shoutback, the hottest social media app of the moment. She adjusted the angle, checked her reflection, and hit record. A smile as sharp as the edge of a diamond spread across her face. Hello to all my single ladies out there. Let's get ready together and slay the day. I call this look showing your ex what he's missing. Like and follow for more tips. Elena blew a kiss to the camera, then she ended her recording. 47 takes later, she finally had it. Perfect lighting, perfect delivery, perfect aesthetic. Her thumb trembled slightly, hovering over the upload button. This was it, her first shot across the bow. If it didn't land, her plan to take control of her life and get revenge on Logan could end before it even started. She took a deep breath, then hit upload. The video was live. Moments later, her phone buzzed with notifications. Comments flooded in. A tidal wave of support and intrigue. Yes, Queen. Drop the skincare routine, I'm begging. Iconic. The words poured in like fuel to a fire. Elena felt her confidence bloom. The shot had landed perfectly. It was time to escalate. Elena looked to her PR team, now convened in her mother's sprawling living room. So what now? Maggie Torres, the sharp-eyed, sharp-tongued publicist with a reputation for turning nobodies into legends, stepped forward. It's all about cracking the algorithm. Elena mulled it over. A 21st century solution for a 21st century problem. And how do we do that? We create the perfect persona. Enigmatic heiress, newly single, living her best life. No messy details, and no mentions of Logan. The less we say about him, the harder the punch will land. It's all about conveying power, elegance, and a life he couldn't hope to keep up with. Elena smirked, intoxicated by the very narrative she was crafting. Together, they curated Elena's next moves. Yacht parties with an effortless champagne-in-hand vibe, brunches that screamed exclusivity, and jet-setting escapades documented with just the right amount of humility. Elena's Shoutback feed transformed into a highlight reel of a woman thriving, unbothered, and untouchable. And while those were the stories the public ate up, the scenes they couldn't see depicted a woman being taken to task by her first trimester, vomiting in crystal vases worth more than most cars. Exhaustion so severe Elena would catnap amid touch-ups between photoshoots. Pending motherhood was testing her commitment to the unbothered goddess aesthetic, but the user engagement each new post manifested was worth the discomfort. Every upload brought more hype and more intrigue. And Elena's new persona wasn't just convincing others. It was convincing her. Each curated post, each rehearsed smile, and each carefully chosen outfit felt like bricks in the fortress she was building around herself. The vulnerable, mouse-like Elena of 10 months ago seemed like a stranger now. Or at least, that's what she told herself. Then came her biggest break yet. Elena! Maggie burst into her room, phone in hand. Game of Hearts wants you. Elena arched a brow. The reality dating show? Apex Network wants to meet with you ASAP. You're exactly what they're looking for. A gorgeous, mysterious divorcee with money and a score to settle. A sly smile spread across Elena's face. Her plan was working. On the drive to Apex Network's sleek offices, Elena called her younger brother Grayson. Despite the fact that Grayson was a fully grown man when Elena left her family for Logan, She felt like she was abandoning the little boy who used to sleep in her bed during thunderstorms. She missed her brother and was desperate to hear his voice in her quickly changing life. "Remind me again why you lied to Logan about being broke and basically ghosted us for a year?" he teased, though his tone held a trace of real hurt. Elena sighed, gazing out at the cityscape blurring past. "Hi to you too, Gray." A beat passed between the two of them. In Apex's glossy conference room, Gus Van Dam and Marty Fisher, the producers of Game of Hearts, greeted Elena with palpable excitement. They were peak Hollywood. One part glitz and glam, one part used car salesman. Gus and Marty wasted no time outlining the premise of the show for Elena. 10 singles searching for love in the concrete jungles of Los Angeles. Complete with elaborate dates, high drama, and emotional eliminations. Elena played along, nodding and smiling, all the while calculating. How many weeks could she film before her pregnancy became obvious? Was this risk worth the reward? As the meeting wrapped, she leaned back in her chair, feigning nonchalance. So who's hosting this choreographed madness? Gus's grin widened. Logan Bennett's fiancée, Ivy Monroe. The corner of Elena's mouth twitched, betraying her ice-cool exterior. Marty noticed. He squirmed. Elena was as much of a boon for them as they were for her. "That won't be a problem, will it?" Elena resituated her smile. "Not at all. Never even heard of her." Gus and Marty let out a collective sigh of relief. They had cast their 10th single. Their show was a go. Later that week, at Apex's Upfronts, a glamorous event that announced the fall's television programming, the network rolled out the red carpet and paraded around all the celebrities they had on contract, including, of course, Logan Bennett and the host of their upcoming reality show, Ivy Monroe. Logan and Ivy strode down the line of photographers, stopping for a posed picture or two. The couple looked exquisite. Logan, in a slim-fitting navy suit that clung to his various bulges in all the right ways, and Ivy, in a low-cut white chiffon dress that accentuated her effortless beauty. With every pose, Ivy made sure to display the massive rock sitting on her ring finger as if to scream, "Sorry, boys, I'm taken." The press ate the couple up, eager to uncover all the details regarding their upcoming nuptials. From her hotel room, Elena watched a live stream of the event on her phone as her glam team fussed around her, smoothing, curling, and perfecting. She stared at Ivy's radiant face on her screen, her fingers tightening around her phone. Ivy's ring, a rock reset from Elena's own engagement, caught the light in deliberate flashes. As she rode to the event in a stretch limousine, Elena scrolled on her phone, her latest shoutback post having gone live moments earlier. "Run in with the mysterious ex tonight. The forecast predicts drama." The post was accompanied by a picture of Elena's black backless dress, the scoop of the dress resting mere centimeters above her toned buttocks. The post's comments were electric, filled with excitement and speculation. But one username caught her eye. "H. Sinclair 22. You deserve better than him anyway." Elena allowed herself a small private smile before her expression hardened. Tonight wasn't about Logan. It wasn't about Ivy. It was about her. The limo came to a stop, and a valet opened the back door, offering Elena a hand. She took it, and when she stepped out of the car, a hush fell over the crowd as they tried to decipher who in the hell this gorgeous woman was. Logan, mid-interview, stumbled over his words as the crowd's energy shifted, and their attention focused on this new, intriguing woman making her way down the red carpet. Ivy looked Elena's way, her smile faltering, her hand tightening around Logan's arm. "Is that who I think it is?" Logan craned his neck, trying to spot the person Ivy was referring to, when his eyes locked on Elena. She threw him a casual smile, conveying a very specific and very loud message. Elena Drake was back, and the chaos she wrought was only the beginning. "Elena on my show? What is she up to?" Ivy screamed. Later, Elena arrived at Apex Studios in her white SUV. As she pulled up to the stages, she found Logan leaning against the sign indicating her assigned parking spot. She was surprised to see him there in the middle of the afternoon on a weekday. Typically, by this time of day, he was knee-deep in calls to Beijing. Elena noticed he was wearing the hand-tailored suit he'd purchased on their honeymoon in Italy. She'd always loved how he looked in that suit, like a titan of industry. Elena parked the car, then got out. Her heels clicking defiantly on the pavement, Elena ignored Logan entirely, making her way towards the stage's side door. But Logan was on her in seconds, his face a mask of restrained fury. "What the hell are you playing at, Elena?" His voice was low but cutting. "This little stunt with Ivy's show, it's not going to work." Elena folded her arms, unfazed. "You're going to have to be more specific, Logan." "Which stunt?" Logan's jaw tightened. "Don't play dumb with me. You're using this show to dig your claws into my life. I won't let you drag Ivy into your chaos." Elena smirked, the hint of a challenge in her eyes. "I'm not dragging anyone anywhere. Ivy's a big girl. If she's getting pulled under, maybe she's not as strong as you think." Logan yanked a leather checkbook from his jacket pocket. and flipped it open with an air of finality. How much do you want? Elena's expression hardened. You think you can buy me off? That's your solution to everything, isn't it? Throw money at the problem until it goes away. Well, not this time, sweetheart. Logan's voice dropped, venom creeping into his tone. Do not push me. I know who you really are. That mountain town girl with no family, no fortune, no connections. You're playing dress up, and I'll expose you for the fraud you are. Elena chuckled, remembering the humble backstory she'd concocted and fed to Logan when they first met. Back then, she didn't want her multi-million-dollar trust fund to sway how Logan felt for her. She thought it would keep him honest and truthful in his feelings toward her, and in a way, she supposed it did. Things simply didn't work out the way she wanted them to. Logan, you don't know a damn thing about who I am now. Logan stepped closer, his frustration boiling over. I'm warning you, Elena. Quit the show. Stop whatever game you're playing before you lose more than you bargained for. Elena's stomach churned, her mouth watered, and she clenched her jaw, hoping beyond hope to fight back the wave of morning sickness overtaking her. Though ruining Logan's tailored suit wouldn't be the worst thing to happen. With a deep breath, Elena steadied herself, her voice icy. You have no power over me anymore, Logan. Not you, not your money, and definitely not your little threats. I'll do what I want, and if it makes you or your precious Ivy squirm, well, that's just a bonus. Anger radiated off Logan, but Elena stood her ground, defiant as ever. You're unbelievable, and you're predictable. She cocked her head, her lips curving into a triumphant smile. Logan's eye twitched, a telltale sign she'd hit a nerve. Good, now we're getting somewhere. If you'll excuse me, I have a show to star in. Elena pushed past Logan just as he took an aggressive step towards her. On instinct, Elena rocketed her Tobin Gray designer purse at Logan's head, a gold buckle cracking the skin right above his brow. Logan gingerly touched above his eye, and when he pulled his hand away, he saw the faintest speck of blood. What the hell, Elena? Are you out of your goddamn mind? No, sweetie. Elena turned on her heels as if she had orchestrated the entire dance. For the first time in a long time, I'm feeling perfectly sane. With that, Elena strutted off toward the stages. Utterly shocked and more pissed off for it, Logan jumped into his sports car and sped away. Nearby, squeals of delight and laughter were hushed. Did you get it, Ralphie? All of it? Ralphie Perkins and Tara Butler, the minds behind the Game of Hearts social media account, were crouched behind a nearby dumpster, secretly filming Elena and Logan's entire exchange on their phone. Oh, I got it. Ralphie couldn't contain his excitement. This shit is going to be gold. Inside Apex Studio, Elena glided onto the stage, which was done over to look like the lavish living room of a Malibu beach house. 9 other women sat spread out on various couches. A cameraman ran up to Elena, shoving a camera in her face. She reeled back, put off. I didn't know we'd be filming right away. It's reality TV, honey. The cameras are always running. Ivy smiled, reveling in Elena's naivete as to how things worked. Elena slipped on a casual grin, not one to be outdone. Good thing I'm always camera ready. She shot the camera a sultry wink. Finally, she turned toward the other women, her competitors. They all seemed like carbon copies of one another, leggy, tanned, and pumped full of too much lip filler. Compared to them, Elena looked like a natural goddess. Liv Smalls, a Bronx transplant and single mother turned real estate agent to the stars, spoke first. So you're the chica everyone's been talking about. Who, me? Elena feigned surprise. Liv walked up to Elena, sizing her up, but Elena remained undeterred. I'm Liv. Elena tried to kill with kindness. I'm Elena. Nice to meet you, Liv. Elena held out a hand, attempting to be cordial, but Liv just stared her down. Oh, I already know you, girlie, and I got eyes on you. From the corner of her eye, Elena could see Marty and Gus, the producers, motioning for the cameras to get in close on the drama. She played along, understanding the assignment. Good, Liv. At least now you'll see what a real woman looks like. A Cheshire grin spread on Elena's face as the other women in the room let out an audible gasp. It was clear who the warring titans of this show were going to be. All right, ladies, take a seat. Ivy motioned toward the couches, attempting to regain control of the show as she slipped into her hosting persona. Welcome, ladies, to Game of Hearts. You have all been chosen for your success in various fields of industry like. Ivy motioned to Liv, real estate, then to Shay Olsen, a big-breasted blonde, music, then to Mia Golder, an exotic-looking woman with more leg than torso. And fashion. And while you may all be winners in your professions, you're losers in love. Over the next 12 weeks, we will follow you in your pursuit of companionship as you face off against one another in various challenges, all meant to turn you into experts in the Game of Hearts. Ivy threw a sultry smile at the camera. And cut! Terry, an anxiety-ridden mop-headed man and the director of the show, jaunted toward Ivy. That was great, Ivy, really, but let's try it one more time. Elena, let's move you more center frame, okay? Elena rose, making a show of her migration to the center of the couch. Whatever you need, Turbear. Terry melted at the pet name as Elena innocently smiled on. Wrap the director around my finger. Check. And then, Ivy, if you could just... Terry took Ivy by the shoulders and moved her camera left. Through gritted teeth, Christ, Terry, am I even in the shot? Ignoring the remark. Let's go again. As the cameras got back into position, Elena's phone buzzed. She looked to see the hashtag Tobingate trending. Confused, she thumbed at her phone and pulled up a video from the Game of Hearts shoutback page, revealing a video of the moment she hit Logan with her bag. A smile crept on Elena's face, reliving that moment of defiance over and over again, a true delight. Elena's phone rang. She looked. It was her mother. Shit. This can't be good. Elena looked to Terry, for the first time her cool exterior slipping just the tiniest bit. The other women, including Ivy and Liv, took notice, enjoying her look of discomfort. I'm so sorry, Terry. I have to take this. Of course, no problem. Ladies, let's take lunch early. The cast and crew dispersed as Elena moved off to privately take her call. What is it, Mother? You're making a lot of waves, Elena. Wasn't that the point? Just be careful. Do you really want people digging into who you are? Elena needed a pseudonym of sorts. A bit of static to make the discovery of her true identity all the more difficult, or at the very least, afford her team enough time to get in front of whatever damage such a revelation might cause. After dozens of pitches and hours of discussion debating the merits and impact each name could have on Elena's revenge strategy, the team rallied behind the Savage Siren. The merch practically sold itself. I'm sorry, you want to be called what? Ivy's eyes bulged from her heavily painted face. Ivy, Terry, Gus, and Marty huddled in Elena's dressing room as her hair and makeup team put the finishing touches on her look. From here on out, I'll be credited as the Savage Siren. I'll announce it on today's episode. Ivy scoffed. The Savage Siren? That's going to sound insane. Of course. Elena continued with an understanding smile that made Ivy squirm. You can still call me Elena behind the cameras. It's all part of a branding strategy my team and I are putting in place. But if it's too much for you, Ivy, I can always bow out of the show. I would never want to make you feel uncomfortable. Now Terry, Gus, and Marty squirmed. The show hadn't even aired yet, and Elena was already their most popular contestant. Losing her would mean losing viewers, and losing viewers would mean losing their jobs. Whatever works for you, works for us. Gus was happy to oblige. Terry turned to Ivy. You good with that, Ivy? Ivy didn't answer. She simply huffed away. Elena watched as Ivy marched out into the hallway that spilled onto the soundstage, which was done up to mirror the inside of a sprawling Malibu mansion. As she crossed the stage, she passed by Logan. He looked at Ivy, alarmed. My love, what's wrong? Ivy threw up an irritated hand, stopping Logan in his tracks, and blew past him. Logan looked across the room, and his eyes locked on Elena. He marched up to her. What did you do to her? Elena feigned shock. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play games with me, Elena. Logan's voice was rising. An audible hush fell over the crew as all eyes turned to Logan and Elena. Elena leaned in and whispered, We better play nice, Logan. We don't want another video going viral, do we? Logan fumed, then abruptly turned around to leave when he ran right into a crew member carrying a large set light. Damn it, man, watch where you're going. Elena smiled to herself as she watched Logan untangle himself from the light before rushing off the set. Playing the Savage Siren is going to be fun. Elena had work to do. She focused on her ultimate mission of total social control. Later the next day, chaos ensued. The entire press around her backstory was spiraling so far out of hand it was almost comical. Until Gus and Marty confronted her with Hayden Bowler, the vice president of marketing for the Apex network, by their side. Hayden was a slender man with wire-rimmed frames, whose sharp features and stern brown gave off the aura of someone perpetually disappointed. Elena, Savage, we need to talk. Gus looked concerned. Marty looked downright ill. What's the problem, boys? Hayden spoke first. I think you know, Miss Drake. Let me guess. Suspicious siren? The network is concerned about the negative backlash that the rumors surrounding your persona may produce. I'm the head of marketing. It's my job to grow the business, and it's hard to grow when the clients buying your product want to seemingly tear the product apart. I'm assuming I am the product. Yes. So what are you proposing? Elena's eyebrow arched as Marty and Gus shared uncomfortable looks. We were thinking maybe you take a step back from the limelight for a bit, just until things blow over, Hayden interjected. We don't want a scandal on our hands. Maggie had prepared Elena for this. Scandal was a word that struck fear into the hearts of men who lurked in boardrooms and corner offices. I don't want to tell you how to do your job, Mr. Bowler, but isn't scandal what we're trying to sell here? Let's lean in. The people want to tear me apart? Good. It means they'll be tuning into every episode you produce with bated breath, hoping to trip me up and expose me for whatever fraud they've created in their minds. Marty, Gus, and Hayden looked at each other, impressed and relieved. Hayden nearly stuttered over himself. I think we could do something with that. The sudden sounds of chaos interrupted their scheming. Elena, Gus, Marty, and Hayden ran toward the main set to find one of Elena's hulking security guards wrestling a pencil-necked photographer to the ground. Elena rushed up to the security guard. "What in the hell is going on? It's the paparazzi. They're swarming the stage. I found this rat snooping around your dressing room." Marty pulled out his cell phone. "That is private property. We should call the police." Elena looked on at the squirming photographer, struck by the opportunity their indiscretion afforded her. "No, Marty, don't. They want to see me. Let them see me." Elena glided through the front doors of the soundstage to find a horde of paparazzi and gossip rag trolls. They fired off questions before the door even closed behind her. "Savage Siren, how do you feel about the rumors swirling around you? What are you trying to hide from the public? What is your relationship to Mr. Logan Bennett? Who are you, really?" As the questions came, rapid fire, Elena struck all her best red carpet poses, lips pursed, chin lifted, sultry pout. The cameras ate her up. And soon, questions died down, her lack of answers retarding the firestorm of queries. An hour later, Elena was standing in the sleek, stainless steel kitchen of her penthouse. She had recently closed on her own place, desperate for some semblance of independence. She was wearing a turquoise sequins dress that shimmered in the stage lighting she had recently set up, giving off the illusion of a mermaid's tail. She cut into a large, rare steak. Elena pressed record on the phone perched before her. She spoke directly to the lens as she continued to casually cut the steak. "I've been getting a lot of questions recently about Savage Siren, so I thought I'd give everyone a little lesson in Greek mythology. You see, sirens were mythical creatures who would use their voices to lure in sailors. In some retellings, the sirens would help lead sailors who were lost at sea to nearby land. And in others, the sirens would drive the sailors into the rocks of the shallows, leading them to horrifyingly bloody deaths. So I think the real question you should all be asking me isn't what a siren is, but what kind of siren is the Savage Siren? And am I trying to save men or drive them to their bloody end?" Elena took a seductive bite of her steak, a bead of the meat's blood trickling down her chin. She wiped at it with a long, perfectly manicured finger before sucking the blood from her own digit. With a smoldering smile, she ended the video and uploaded it to Shoutback. As instantly as it appeared on the platform, the hashtag Siren Strike was trending. Elena's cryptic message had fans spiraling, trying to decode what she meant and who she was. She loved watching the online chaos that seemed to churn up in the wake of all her videos, recognizing the handles that her PR team had created to stoke and control the conversations in Elena's favor. Suddenly her phone rang, and her mother's picture appeared on her screen. Elena reluctantly answered. "Yes, Mother? Do you know who I just got off the phone with? Your plastic surgeon?" Elena was feeling quippy after the splash her video made. "Logan Bennett's lawyer." Her mother's voice was clipped. Elena stiffened, trying to deduce what Logan had up his sleeve, but before she could come to her own conclusion, her mother interjected. "He was asking about your trust fund. You need to shut this down, Elena. Now." Logan rode the elevator to his grandfather's penthouse office on the 20th floor of the Bennett Entertainment Agency. In his hands, he held a single piece of paper, the statement of Elena's trust fund. Information he gleaned after threatening to expose the nasty drug habit of an old college friend whose family owned the bank. While the statement felt like a step in the right direction, most of the information was redacted, and it gave him no further insight into Elena's past or where she was getting her money from. Part of him felt taunted. Part of him felt turned on, getting a rush from the three-dimensional chess he and his ex-wife were playing. But it backed him into a corner and forced him to confront the person who got him into this mess in the first place. His grandfather, Edward Bennett, a man whose physique and temperament were carved from stone, was the only other person who had knowledge of Elena. Perhaps he could shed light on Logan's many questions. Edward's father, Luigi Benetali, started the Bennett Entertainment Agency nearly 100 years ago. At a young age, he understood the power one could wield if they were able to break into the entertainment industry and control it. So Luigi came to Los Angeles, changed his surname, and did all he could to drain his voice of foreign inflections, thus giving birth to the Bennett Entertainment Agency. In the span of 2 generations, the agency went from a one-man operation to an entertainment powerhouse, representing A-list talent. Edward had been running the agency for the last 40 years, but he was getting on in age. With his own son out of the picture, Logan was next in line to ascend to the throne. That is, if he could produce an heir so as to protect the family business from outsiders on the board looking to wrestle power away from the family. That was how Logan became entangled with Elena. Edward had forced her upon him. And Edward was not the sort of man you could say no to or negotiate with. The elevator doors opened into Edward's office, and Logan stepped off. The floor-to-ceiling windows that encased Edward's workspace gave all who entered a touch of vertigo, an effect done by design. While his counterparts were getting their bearings, Edward was negotiating down their bottom line. "Grandson," Edward's voice boomed off the glass windows. What brings you here? Logan had prepared an entire speech, but the Herculean aura of his grandfather wiped it from his mind. It's Elena, grandfather. I need to find out more about her past. I discovered a trust fund in her name, but nothing else. I know you have connections in Washington. I thought you could use them to... Edward cut his grandson off. To help you even the score with an X? Edward's tone was biting, belittling. Logan shrunk before him. It's just that she... Logan stumbled all over himself. His grandfather had this effect on him. You were a fool for divorcing her, and an even bigger fool proposing to that reality show twit, Ivy Monroe. Don't talk about Ivy like that. Logan bristled against his grandfather, shocking even himself. His grandfather let out an uproarious laugh before his face turned rageful. You've forgotten your place in this family, grandson. I'll talk about her any goddamn way I please. Now sit. Logan did as told, like a dog obeying their master. Your little soap opera with Elena Drake is playing out in public. Edward spun his computer towards Logan, which showed headlines from gossip rags and Elena's many viral videos. You're making this family look foolish, weak. How could you do this to me? I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, but if you could help me find out more about Elena's past, I know I could make her go away. You were the one who wanted me to marry her. You must know something about her, about where she comes from, her family? Edward slapped Logan in the face. You will know what I want you to know and be grateful for it. Logan's cheek burned as hot as his simmering rage. Why her? Why do you favor her over Ivy? She's young, beautiful, brilliant. Most men would kill to be in your position. Instead, you toss her aside like yesterday's paper and lust after some Botox-filled bimbo? To think I wanted to leave the company in your hands. I suppose it was a blessing in disguise, you not producing an heir. It showed me how incapable you truly are. Tears burned the corner of Logan's eyes as he struggled to keep them from spilling. Logan looked at his watch. I'm late for a meeting across town. Fix this mess, I don't care how. I will. Logan pulled himself out of his chair and lumbered back to the elevators. As he punched the button for the parking garage, he could hear Edward asking his assistant to bring him the Drake file. I knew there was something more going on here. I must get to the bottom of it. The elevator deposited Logan into the private parking garage that housed his sports car. He jumped behind the leather steering wheel and started up the car. The 600 horsepower that emanated from the car's engine baptized him. He was a man renewed. There was a reason that Edward wanted him to marry Elena, and Logan was determined more than ever to find out why. He dialed his assistant's number on the car's home screen. Logan Bennett's office. Kevin's voice lit up the car. Logan spat at him with urgency. Kevin, find me a private investigator. Not someone on our payroll. Find me the best. I don't care what it costs. Will do, Mr. Bennett. Also, sir. Logan pulled out of the Beverly Hills parking garage onto Doheny Drive, only to be bombarded by a squadron of paparazzi snapping pictures and rifling off incoherent questions he was never going to answer. He did his best to navigate around the herd of crazed photographers. I thought you should know there are reports bubbling up about Miss Drake's involvement in a charity scam. What are you talking about? According to the articles I've read, a former employee of Miss Drake's charity, Better Together, is claiming the foundation collected millions in disaster relief only to divert the funds to some offshore account. It's blowing up online. Cancel Elena is trending. A devilish grin slinked onto Logan's face. He couldn't believe his good fortune. Creating Better Together was one of the do-gooder endeavors that Elena had embarked on during their short marriage. Its mission was to provide relief to those impacted by natural disasters. Elena cluelessly lounged at her poolside penthouse when Grayson stormed in, waving his cell phone in the air. You're being accused of stealing from natural disaster victims. What? Elena tossed aside her designer sunglasses, grabbing at Grayson's phone, seeing for herself. Multiple sources have come forward claiming they have proof. It's lies, Gray, all of it. Don't worry, I know. I've got my guys looking into it. Someone started the rumors. We just need to find out who. Grayson looked at his phone. This is them. They might have news for us. As Grayson moved back into Elena's penthouse, her own phone rang. She looked and saw Gus, the executive producer of Game of Hearts, calling. She answered, doing her best impersonation of a calm woman. Gus, what's going on, babe? Elena, I hate to make this call, but I saw the articles about your charity. Elena stiffened. It's not true. You have to believe me, it doesn't matter. We can't risk being associated with a scandal like this. I'm sorry, Elena, but you're fired. I understand. Elena hung up, her composure crumbling when suddenly a barbaric scream escaped her mouth. Grayson came running out. It's Ivy. What do you mean? My security team traced the story's sources back to Ivy's publicist. She has to be the one behind this. Elena took a deep breath, trying to figure out how to salvage her crumbling image when suddenly a text message popped up on her phone. It was Edward Bennett, Logan's grandfather. The text read, Don't worry about Logan. If you still seek revenge on your father, I'm always here to help. Just then, her phone dinged again. It was an email. Miss Drake, I regret to inform you that Game of Hearts will be formally terminating your contract effective immediately. That was the language in the email Elena received from Apex Network's legal department. Apparently, it wasn't enough to have gotten fired over the phone. Instead of letting the news beat her down, Elena used it as a call to arms. She had to get to work. Will Elena get back onto Game of Hearts, or has her game of revenge come to an end? Why is Edward Bennett helping Elena instead of his own grandson Logan? And will the truth about Elena's pregnancy come to light? And what dangers will that truth bring?
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.